بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وبعد. Very quickly, I want to go back to the hadith we last did yesterday because I feel like maybe it wasn't clear enough the way I explained it. Who was here yesterday? You was here yesterday. What was the last hadith we did yesterday? What was it about?
It's only permissible.
Yes,
to
killing someone. Yes, okay. So we talked about the thing on zina, and as we said in the Quran, the punishment for zina for let me get it right.
Unmarried.
For an unmarried person is 100 lashes. Yes, and then for a married person is it doesn't actually come in the Quran. It comes in the Hadith, and it is stoning to death. Now we said how many witnesses did this need? 4, yes? There are other crimes like, for example, theft. Does anyone know how many witnesses those need, according to most opinions? Theft?
I think 3.
3? Yeah, I think for theft it's actually just 2. So you see, for zina it's twice as much. So again, you can see how significant zina is. You can't. Zina is not light matter to accuse people of. And again, what did we say? What happens if you accuse someone of zina? But then the 4 witnesses aren't there. For example, I accuse someone of zina by myself. What will the judge do if this is a...
Lash you.
Lash me how many times?
80.
I would get lashed 80 times, right? I would get lashed 80 times. And I mentioned to you guys as well, there's a story of how there were 4 people who actually went to spy on someone doing zina. And 3 of them actually literally saw them doing zina. 1 person didn't see it, he saw them on the same bed. What did the judge say?
Lash
That's not enough. They all got lashed. So again, so zina is so serious. You need to, before you go and accuse anyone, you need to be 100% sure that there are at least 4 of you who've all seen it, and not even just seen them on the bed, actually seen zina. So again, as I said yesterday, when is this going to happen? It's not going to happen in people's private, in people's bedrooms and stuff, right? If someone does something in the privacy of their own home, that's between them and Allah. Nobody's going to nobody's going to punish them. Nobody in this world is going to punish them for that. Nobody's going to stop them doing that. They can do whatever they like. That's between them and Allah. What are these punishments for? The punishment of zina, the punishment of theft, the punishment of accusing someone. What are they for? They are to rectify society at large. They're not about the individual person. And again, I think someone asked about CCTV. What if we suspect someone's going to do zina, so we go and stick a camera at their window? And then camera sees whatever it sees, and then we go and show the footage to 4 people, 4 witnesses. It doesn't work like that. So most opinions will not accept that. For one thing, they'll say camera footage could be tampered with, because now with all the computer scientists around here, they can change the footage to make it They can change the footage, and as well as that. Some scholars will say that's against the spirit of the punishment anyway. What's the purpose of the punishment? It's not to interfere with what people are doing in their own homes. Not to go to individuals and see what they're doing. The punishment is to fix society. So when are we going to have 4 witnesses? It's when someone starts doing something in public. And of course people should not be allowed to do things like that in public. So that's why the punishment comes in. But as I said again, this punishment has never really been, as far as I'm aware, it's not been applied like that ever in history, because you're not going to get 4 witnesses unless people are doing it in public, and it will only happen if people do it in public. The only time it's been applied is when someone themselves owns up, they confess that I did that, and then they want to face the punishment so that it can be that's part of their repentance. Okay, let's move on to the next hadith. So, hadith number 14, is it 14? No, not 14, 15. Yes, hadith number 15. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال من كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليقل خيرا أو ليصمت ومن كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليكرم جاره ومن كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليكرم ضيفه. So whoever believes in Allah and the last day should say a good word or keep silent. Again, We like to talk a lot about everything and anything and everything. Whenever there's anything going on, we like speaking. One of the best. I remember one of my teacher's teachers. I remember once he said something. He said, "A person has one mouth and two ears. One mouth and two ears. So often we should actually we obviously we all like to hear ourselves, our own voices. We all like to speak ourselves. We all like to be the one speaking. But more often than not, it's actually better to listen rather than to be speaking ourselves. And we're not. This is it. It doesn't have to be either or. I mean, sometimes it's just better not to do anything. But in some cases, we should actually listen to others rather than wanting to hear, rather than speaking ourselves. And also, there's a saying in Arabic. إذا كان الكلام من الفضة فالسكوت من الذهب. السكوت من الذهب. What does that mean?
It's much better to be quiet rather than talk a useful thing.
Yeah, basically, if speech is made of silver, then silence is made of gold. Like sometimes we should just be quiet rather than wasting our time, wasting other people's time talking about often useless things. There was another point I wanted to make on that, but I've forgotten it, so I'll move on to the next one. The next one is whoever believes in Allah and the last day should what? Does anyone remember? Should
Yukrim
Jar, yes, his neighbor. So again, neighbors is a very important thing. How many of us actually know our neighbors? You know your neighbor? Does anyone else here know their neighbor? Okay, good. That's good to know. That's the start. So we should now it says honor our neighbors. What is can anyone give me any ideas of what's your idea of honoring your neighbor?
Be respectful of being their neighbor.
Okay, that's good. So don't block their driveway, perhaps. What else? Yeah.
Greet them whenever you see them.
Greet them whenever you see them. Yes, good. What else? Anything else? Yes.
Not making too much noise to wake them up or something.
Very good. Yes, very good. Anything else? Giving them food, perhaps. Whenever you cook. So actually, I can't remember actually whether this is a hadith or a saying of one of the companions. When you cook, cook a bit extra and give it to your neighbor. Offer food to your neighbors. So the neighbors, not just the next door neighbors, but there's the neighbors. 10, 20, 30 houses either way. We should be honoring all of them. We should be looking after all of them. And again, there are many programs nowadays that people have started. Like for example, I remember in the winter when it was snowing everywhere, some people were going around with their shovels and whatever and cleaning everyone's driveways and stuff like that. These are all things we should get involved in. And before we look further out, we should look first at our own immediate neighborhood. We should look at our own neighborhood. What are we doing for our neighbors? So that's like that example. When it snows, there's ice everywhere. People are struggling to whatever it is. They need their driveways cleared or something. That's a good opportunity for us. We should go and help people wherever we can. So little things like that, food, so on, things like that. And then the last one is honor your guest. So again, what's our idea of honoring guests? So in the Arab culture, this idea is very strong. So in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, even before he came, people would already honor their guests so much. There's a story of Hadeeth al-Ta'i. Hadeeth al-Ta'i, he did not accept Islam. His son accepted Islam, but he was someone from pre-Islam who was very well known for his generosity. And in the Arab culture, generosity is already a big thing anyway. So to be known for your generosity, to be so generous that you're known for your generosity among the Arabs by the standard set by Arabs, that must be such a great thing. So Hadeeth al-Ta'i, someone heard of how generous he was, so he wanted to test it out. So he knew that Hadeeth al-Ta'i had this horse, very nice horse. It's like what's the best car we can think of?
Tesla.
It's like the Tesla. So he had a Tesla, which looked like a horse, and some guy wanted to test how generous he is. So he went to see him. He went to see him in the middle of the night, and he was going to ask him for the horse. But then it got a bit late, so he stayed. He ate, he stayed over, and he decided in the morning he was going to ask him for the horse. So he asked him, I've heard you're very, maybe he didn't say, I've heard you're very generous, he just asked, can I have the horse? And he knows he's supposed to be very generous, so now he's testing, is he going to give me his Tesla? So Hatim al-Ta'i looked very uneasy, he looked very uncomfortable. So the guy was thinking, see, I knew it. However generous he is, he's not going to give me his Tesla. And he said, see, so are you not going to give it to me? And he said, no, it's not that I don't want to give it to you. The problem is, last night, you came to my house, and I didn't have any food to give you. So what did I do? I slaughtered the Tesla, and I gave you that. I had to give you that. So you can see how generous the Arab people used to be, and this is one of the values which is very much upheld in Islam. So even to this day, people generally in the Arab culture, and each culture has its own positives and negatives, right? This thing about generosity and being hospitable with your guests and so on, this is something which, especially in the Arab culture, is very much generally speaking, it's upheld, and it's something which we should all try and practice. Okay, let's move on. الحديث السادس عشر الحديث السادس عشر the 16th hadith. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه أن رجلا قال للنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أوصني قال لا تغضب فردد مرارا قال لا تغضب. So a man came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he asked him to give me advice. And again, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was someone who would think very carefully, and he would assess people based on their own situation. He would treat each person differently. It's not a one size fits all for everyone. You come, ask something, I give you the answer, then he comes and asks, I give him the same answer, then he comes and asks, I give him the same answer. No. Many people would come and ask the Prophet for advice. Or people would come and ask the Prophet, what's the best action? What's the best good deed? Does anyone know what kind of answers would he give to what's the best deed? What's the best good deed to do? Does anyone know?
Taqwa.
Taqwa, sometimes taking care of your parents, sometimes striving in the cause of Allah, sometimes prayer. So now why would it be that the Prophet ﷺ would give, when one person asks what's the best deed, he'll say it's to take care of your parents. When another person asks, he'll say it's to pray. When another person asks, he'll say it's to do jihad, it's to strive in the path of Allah. Why the same question he's giving three different answers?
Because it's specific to that personality.
Yeah, exactly, because maybe he might see that this person is not so good at this particular thing, so he'd encourage him to do that. This person, encourage him to do that, and so on. So the Prophet ﷺ, these are the characteristics that the Prophet ﷺ had. He would treat each person according to how they need to be treated, not like a mass thing that everyone gets treated the same way, like in a factory. Each person is treated according to what their personality is, as you said. Okay, so in this example, someone comes to him and he asks him, give me advice. So what did he say? He said, don't get angry. So he asked again. He said, don't get angry. And this one, it just says, you repeated it once, but maybe, no, mirara, he repeated it many times. And each time he said, don't get angry. So now again, we all know that when we get angry, we can't think straight, right? When you get angry, there are certain things which cloud your thinking, right? One of them might be, different emotions, they cloud people's thinking, right? One of them is anger. When people get angry, they can't think straight. And again, nowadays, living in the 21st century, the easiest way for us to understand this is, tell someone, next time I get angry, record me. Either voice record or video record or anything. And if anyone sees what they themselves look like when they're angry, they would generally, we would be pretty ashamed, right? If we see what we look like when we're angry, we would really not want to do that again. So anger is really something which we all need to control. And again, there's another narration where the Prophet ﷺ said that if someone gets angry and they're standing up, they should sit down. And if someone when they're sitting down, they're still angry, then they should lie down. Because when we're angry, that's not the time that we should act. We shouldn't do things based on anger, because we will not be thinking straight at all. And there's another narration actually where it's even more explicit. Someone came to ask the Prophet ﷺ for advice, And he just said, don't get angry, you'll enter Jannah. So again, you can see it's very clear that anger is something which is very much disliked and which will destroy us. And also, I said the thing about different emotions cloud our thinking. One of the things I was going to say was hunger. Hunger does cloud people's thinking. But then I remembered actually in English we have a saying: a hungry man is an angry man. So anyway, that's basically it. When you're hungry, you become angry, and then when you're angry, you can't think straight. Okay, let's move on to the next hadith. Sorry?
He's saying the Snickers thing, not you when you're hungry.
Okay, so the 17th hadith. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عن أبي يعلى شداد بن أوس رضي الله عنه عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: إن الله كتب الإحسان على كل شيء فإذا قتلتم فأحسنوا القتلة وإذا ذبحتم فأحسنوا الذبحة وليحد أحدكم شفرته وليرح ذبيحته. So Shaddad ibn Aus radiallahu anhu narrated that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah has prescribed goodness in all things, or ihsan in all things. Now what is ihsan? So ihsan, as we've already discussed before, can mean different things depending on the context. As with every word, again you need to understand this. What I would advise everyone to bear this point in mind all the time when you're reading Quran or when you're reading Hadith. Different words mean different things in different contexts, especially in Arabic. In English it's true as well. But in Arabic, you have to realize that when you get a particular word, you need to look at what the context is it's coming in, because that will tell you what the meaning of the word is. For example, and the problem is, nowadays we have so many Orientalists and stuff, and they're coming with all their ideas. They do some half-baked study of Islam, and then they present it to some Muslims, and then if these Muslim people don't know any better, they get affected by it. So for example, we know that there is as-salatu ala nabi, right? As-salatu ala nabi. One of the most ridiculous things I heard someone saying is that as-salah, we call it salah. He said this is salah to the Nabi. So he said you people are pagans because you're worshipping your prophet. Because he said, salah, what does salah mean? Salah means pray. So then salah, as-salatu ala nabi, praying to the prophet. So you have to realize it depends on the context. I mean, also in that case, it's because salah with lam could mean one thing, salah with ala could mean another thing, salah with ila could mean another thing. But basically, the point here is always look at the context. Don't let anyone pick something out of context and say, look, it means this. So ihsan means goodness. So goodness on Allah has commanded us to do everything well. So for example, when you kill well. Sounds a bit. What could this mean? When you kill well, or what killing is this referring to?
Labiha.
Well, that gets mentioned later. So
Kill.
So this is about qisas. What is qisas?
Revenge.
Payback to murder.
That could no. That's diya. That's diya. Yeah.
Qisas is when someone of your family has been killed.
Yeah. Qisas is you could say maybe revenge sounds
Kind
a
of
bit.
revenge,
Revenge
but
sounds a
not-
bit savage. Maybe retribution, shall we say? When one person is killed, when someone kills a person, they get killed because of that. Like the whole eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, life for a life. So when you kill, when killing someone in that situation, you kill them, with a proper weapon and not, nowadays there are all these torture methods, right? All of these things are not allowed in Islam. We're not allowed to do these things to anyone, even if it's killing someone back for as retribution. They killed someone, so you take their life. You can't do it in all those methods. It has to be just, straight, just like a quick thing, not deliberately torturing them by doing it very slowly. And also, I don't know if you guys know, in the Battle of Uhud, the disbelievers, they when they killed some of the Muslims, they mutilated them. Like for example, when they killed Hamza, who's Hamza? Uncle of the Prophet ﷺ. What happened? They cut out his liver, they cut off his ears, they cut off his nose, they put it on a stick, and then they did this to some of the other companions as well. So Prophet ﷺ, obviously when he saw that, he was very upset, and he said that he's going to do the same back to them. And that's when Allah revealed the verse, وَإِنْ عَاقَبْتُمْ فَعَاقِبُوا بِمِثْلِ مَا عُوقِبْتُمْ بِهِ. If you're going to punish them, you punish in the same way that you've been punished. So you're just going to, like, just to kill, not to mutilate. Mutilating is not allowed in Islam. Even if other people do it to you, you can't do it back to them. وَلَئِنْ صَبَرْتُمْ لَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لِلصَّابِرِينَ. But if you're patient, that's even better. So being patient is even better than.
So
yes.
If they harmed you and you harmed them back, what good is in that? What?
Okay, put it this way. Suppose I kill somebody, and then nothing happens to me. Then next time I see someone else I don't like, I'll kill them as well. And then again, nothing happens to me. And then I see somebody else, I kill them as well. And again, nothing happens to me.
So is it just about killing then? Are you just, you picked specifically picked up killing. So
Sorry, this example was killing. Any kind of harm. Suppose I harm in the sense, you mean like theft or?
Yeah, just say if somebody slapped you or something, what is good in it that you hit them back? What?
So again, as the Quran says, وَلَئِن صَبَرْتُمْ لَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لِلصَّابِرِينَ. And if you're patient, then that's better for you. So if you forgive, it's better for you. But the person who is slapped, in your example, the person who is slapped, they have the right to slap back. It's their right to slap back. If they want to leave it, that's fine. It's up to them, and it's better for them. They will get more reward for doing that. If someone slaps me and I forgive them, it's better for me. I'll get more reward for that. But nobody can take away my right, which is that I get to slap them back. Does that make sense? If someone slaps me, yeah.
But it's good to point out that if you decide to slap him back, it has to be in the same position and same power.
Oh yeah, yes.
He used to slap you in the first place.
Yes, of course, yes. Yeah, that's true. The reason is, if there's no consequence to what people do, they'll keep doing it. So like you see, again, people like to say that people talk about Sharia law and how savage it, how barbarian it is and stuff like that. Cutting the hand of a thief and so on. That's why in these countries there's so much crime. Whereas in places, what they call Sharia law isn't. That aspect of it isn't. Again, obviously you all know Sharia is a lot more broad than just that. That's Sharia is like this, and one aspect of it is punishing the criminals, right? One small aspect of it. That aspect of it isn't properly applied anywhere. In the places it is applied properly, or if there was in the past a place where it was applied properly, crime would be very low. Things that, for example, now in this country, we see that there's so many things happening to, well, it used to just be women. Now apparently now it's men as well. We go out at night around here, and things happen to people, right? Now you see, there's no real consequence for that. What's the worst? Suppose someone does that. What's the worst that will happen to them in this country? They'll get put in prison for perhaps for life, maybe not even for life. And then sometimes what happens after 5 years or something, they decide to just let them go. Is everyone aware of that, right? Okay, according to Sharia law, what should happen? What would happen to that person? They would be killed, right? So then the next time their friend is in the same situation and they're thinking about doing the same thing, they'll think twice about it, because they'll know that when my other guy did this to someone, to a woman or to a man or whoever it is, he was killed for it. So I'm not going to do the same thing. So that's why we have to understand these laws are all there for a reason, and those rights belong to the person who belong to the victim. The victim. Now again, if the victim chooses to forgive, it's up to them, and they could get more reward for forgiving. But we have to realize that those laws are there for a reason. And thinking of it that way, I'll leave it to everyone else to decide which countries are backward and which countries are which countries are barbarian and which countries are not. Okay. Moving on. وَإِذَا قَتَلْتُمْ فَأَحْسِنُوا الْقِتْلَةَ. Okay, if you kill well. So again, things like mutilation not allowed. Things like and when doing retribution as well, it has to be done properly. وَإِذَا ذَبَحْتُمْ فَأَحْسِنُوا الذِّبْحَةَ, and when you kill the when you slaughter an animal, slaughter well. So again, can anyone give me a quick run through? What is your idea of slaughtering an animal well? Has anyone here done it? Who's done it? Shaydan. How do you slaughter an animal well?
Firstly, it should be quick, and it'll be quick, and so basically it shouldn't hurt the animal. So if you do it quick, it's faster than I don't know.
Okay.
How to
Sharpen the knife.
Jugular vein. That's what we're looking for. Yeah. What else?
You also don't show it to any other animals.
With a sharp.
Yeah, sharp knife. Yes, good.
Yeah, so don't let the animal see the blade.
Yeah, don't let the other one see.
Don't let the animal see the blade, and don't let the other one see. Okay, good.
And
So.
also do prayer, we do pray.
Oh yes, and of course, yes, very good point. Yes. So all of these points are very good. You've all said it exactly right. That's how you slaughter an animal. And I think someone mentioned the sharp blade. So actually, it does say when you hid ahadukum shafrata. So people should make sure that the blade is sharp. When you dhabihata, and he should not harm, not mentally and physically, like not mentally harm the animal in the sense that it's shown anything else, right?
It should be calm as well.
Yes, very good. Yeah, it should be calm as well. Shouldn't be struggling. So again, is that how it happens nowadays?
No, they just
Electrifying, man.
Electrifying. Yeah, stinging. Yes, singing. Again, you all know that there is this thing about there is this controversy about halal meat being barbarian. Some people, in fact, don't want to eat halal meat because they think it's barbarian, that it wasn't stung. Again, I mean, I don't know. Does anyone else know better on this? My understanding of this is that if the animal is stung, is that the right word? Stung? If the animal is stung,
electrocuted.
if the animal is stung, does it not still feel everything? It's just that it can't struggle. That's my understanding of it. My understanding of it is it's paralyzed, but it can still feel everything. So if you sting the animal, physically it looks a lot more peaceful because the animal's not struggling, but the animal can still feel everything, right? I don't know. Does anyone here know better? I don't know.
I mean, if you're cutting the main blood flow to the brain, isn't the animal not going to feel anything?
But is that how they sting the animal?
No.
No, as in I'm saying like if the meat is halal.
No, I know. Yes, exactly. You're right. Yeah, you're right. That's the halal situation. I'm talking about the one where they sting the animal. When they sting the animal, as far as I understand, it just paralyzes it, so it can't struggle. So from like an observer's point of view, it looks very peaceful. Like the animal's not struggling, so it's fine. But as far as I understand, it's just that the animal's paralyzed. It can't struggle, but it can still feel everything. That's my understanding. I don't really know if anyone wants to correct me on that. So in that sense, obviously, as you said, in the halal way, you cut the jugular vein. The jugular vein, once that happens, all the blood flow to the brain is cut off, so it can no longer feel anything. Straight away, it doesn't feel anything. So whether it looks peaceful or not, it's not. Yeah.
I would say that when you do stun the animal, like for example, if a human being just stopped with couldn't move, just instantly, they start panicking as well. So I do think the animal would also enter a state of panic. So that would mentally harm the animal.
Stinging.
Like once you're stunned, like you become paralyzed. For example, if a human being was paralyzed, like they instantly just couldn't move their arms, couldn't move their feet, they'd enter a state of panic. Like
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It still feels everything. It's just that it can't react. It can't move because it's paralyzed. So in that sense, I mean, again, that looks a lot more barbarian than cutting the jugular vein. But there we go. Okay, let's move on. Enough talk of.
Is it a short one?
Yeah, it's a short one.
I think it will.
No.
You got like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, بسم الله. عن أبي ذر جندب بن جنادة وأبي عبد الرحمن معاذ بن الجبل رضي الله عنهما عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: اتق الله حيثما كنت وأتبع السيئة الحسنة تمحها وخالق الناس بخلق حسن. So the Mu'adh ibn Jabal narrates, the Prophet ﷺ said, have taqwa of Allah wherever you are, and follow up a good deed, follow up a bad deed with a good deed, and live with the people, have good character with the people. So have taqwa of Allah wherever you are. What does taqwa mean?
God consciousness.
Being conscious of Allah. So what is the meaning of taqwa over here? Taqwa linguistically means to protect yourself from something, to shield. Taqwa, al-wiqaya, is like to shield from something. So what are you shielding yourself from? You're shielding yourself from you can say the anger of Allah, the wrath of Allah by avoiding sins. So taqwa, you avoid sins, you're conscious that Allah is watching you, you avoid the sins, and you protect yourself from the anger of Allah. So have taqwa of Allah wherever you are. وَأَتْبِعِ السَّيِّئَةَ الْحَسَنَةَ تَمْحُهَا. So now, you know that you try and avoid sins. You are conscious that Allah is watching you all the time, and you try and avoid sins. But even if you do commit a sin, then what? You follow it up with a good deed. So again, one of the tricks of shaitan is that he comes to us after we've done a sin, and he tries to convince us to do it again. Is anyone familiar with that? You know, when you commit a sin, usually you're feeling a bit down, right? And that's the time when shaitan will come to you, because we always have this sense of, okay, I've done it once, it won't make a difference if I do it again. Does anyone get what I'm talking about? We sometimes feel we've done it once, it doesn't make a difference if we do it again. It's just like on the flip side, not doing good deeds. For example, if we don't pray the Sunnah of Maghrib regularly, and then one day everyone's praying the Sunnah of Maghrib, we're there, we've got time, so we think, okay, I'll also pray the Sunnah of Maghrib, but then I'm like, well, I've never prayed it before, I didn't pray it yesterday, I didn't pray it the day before, so why bother now? Why bother now? Like, I'm already not like at that level to pray the Sunnah of Maghrib or the Sunnah of whatever prayer it is, so I'm not going to do it. Similarly, it works both ways. These are all tricks of shaitan, so we have to ignore these. What does it say? When you do a bad deed, what do? You straight away you follow it up with a good deed. Because what? Actually, there's a story about this. That once there was a companion of the Prophet ﷺ, he came to the Prophet after the prayers, and he said to the Prophet, "O Messenger of Allah, I kissed a woman." Okay? Now again, why would he tell the Prophet ﷺ this? Because maybe he thought that there should be some sort of punishment for that. So the Prophet ﷺ turned away. He again said to him, "I kissed a woman." The Prophet ﷺ turned away. He said it a third time. The Prophet ﷺ said to him, Did you pray with us? Did you pray with me just now? Did you pray behind me just now? And again, you can see the Prophet ﷺ, how different he is to, imagine nowadays, you went to an imam in a masjid and you said, "I kissed a woman." What's he going to do?
Astaghfirullah.
He'll take his shoes and he'll beat you up. Okay, so you can see that the Prophet ﷺ was completely different. I mentioned before how he would judge each person. He would treat each person based on who they are. Again, we think about when a person would be speaking to the Prophet ﷺ, he would give that person his full attention. He's not speaking to a person like this. Yes brother, how are you doing? Yeah, how's everything going? And then he's actually checking his text messages. He would give each person the full attention. So now you can see what's happening. The person said to him this, and he turned away. He turned away twice. The third time, what did he say? He said, "Did you just pray with me? Did you just pray behind me?" And the person said, "Yes." He said, "Do you not know, Innal hasanat yudhibna sayyi'at? Do you not know that good deeds erase bad deeds?" So what happened? He just did this bad deed, and now the Prophet is saying to him, "Okay, well then you prayed behind us. Do you not know that good deeds erase bad deeds?" And the person was very happy. He said, "Is it just for me?" And the Prophet said, "No, it's for everyone." So we should all remember that, bear that in mind, that we have taqwa, we try and have taqwa of Allah all the time, we avoid sins. But even if we fall into sin, what should we do? We seek repentance, and we try and do as many good deeds as we can, because the good deeds wipe out the bad deeds. There was one third point in that hadith, but we're a bit short of time, so we'll come back to that hadith next week, inshallah.